This video, I'm going to show you how you are a time traveler and you don't even know it. This goes beyond what people call starseeds. This goes into a new understanding about who you are at a soul level, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you more about the soul level, understanding who we are beyond this 3D avatar body that we use for a certain period of time, this dream of being in physical reality, knowing that at a deeper level we are eternal spiritual beings having temporary human experiences. And when we talk about time travelers, it's important to understand that our soul is not so small that we can only incarnate into one reality system at a time. You right now watching this video are here perceiving reality through your five senses, playing the dream of physical reality. However, you exist at many different levels at this same time right now. You may have lives in the past on Earth, the future on Earth. You may also have past lives or future lives on different star systems altogether, because our soul is so vast that it does not have the limitation of only going and having one type of experience on one planet. You are an eternal spiritual being and beyond what you can even imagine. So you, being such a large, vast spiritual being, have lives in many different reality systems at the same time, which is very empowering because you're so much more than you can imagine. The ego, yes, is a temporary mask that we use for a period of time. However, the reason we split ourselves off into many different experiences is because then we learn so much more. Imagine it as this, as you have your higher self right here. And then what happens is you have different offshoots of your higher self that then are able to go out, have different experiences, come back to the higher self, which is the larger aspect of you, and then you've not only had one life on Earth between the period of time that it is right now, but you also have at other times in other star systems that correlate with similar themes of this life, but that allow you to then learn more in a cumulative type way. So when we talk about our soul, understand, or the soul in general, understand you are so much more than you can imagine, and that you would not have just incarnated your energy into one reality system because you're too vast of a spiritual being. You're too vast. You have the ability to go into many different star systems, some of which are very similar to Earth, some of which may actually be and have an intention to help Earth when you talk about some of these different star systems. And that's when you get into the information of what are called starseeds, of understanding that there's this multidimensionality where we exist in different states of consciousness at the same time and in different star systems. Now, when we talk about that of time travelers, understand that at a certain level, you are a time traveler. What I mean by this is, as a spiritual being, you decided to come to Earth at this specific time to experience the detail and the nuances of what it's like to go through a shift in consciousness at the level that it's happening right now. This is something that I've learned from studying a lot of the work of the Law of One, which is some of the most empowering channeled material of all time. Also studying that of Bashar, if you've ever heard of Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka. And a lot of information to do as well with different star systems in general. There's a lot of information coming through. And this information coming through is aspects of our own consciousness that is coming through us to explain. And it's almost like these versions of us reaching back to explain how the versions of us now are going through what we're going through. Now, a lot of what I'm sharing with you right now as well comes from the work of Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon wrote 17 to 19 books. It's either 17 or 19. I can never remember the exact number. But she didn't actually really even have to write them. They're transcripts from her QHHT sessions, quantum healing hypnosis technique. And one of the things many people said, this is a level of hypnosis that people would go into, where they would get into a deep trance where they were kind of like being asleep and awake in a deep level of hypnosis. And Dolores would ask them questions like, why did you incarnate at this time? What was this person in your life? What was the lesson there? Why did you choose these parents? Stuff like that. And one of the consistent things that came through many, many different people all over the world who did not know each other was, I heard the call. I heard the call. What do you mean? What they said is that there was a call that was put out into the universe that said that the earth needed help. The earth needed help because there was this level of destruction that was happening on the planet because many people were destroying the planet. There's a certain level of control that's been on the planet for a long period of time. And what happened is there was a call that was put out that said the earth needs help. And many different people, many different souls in different star systems heard this call and said, I will go back and I will do my best to help. Those people are what sometimes we might call starseeds. However, everyone on the planet is multidimensional. So I always like to preface that. Everyone's multidimensional. It's just how aware are you of your connections to different levels. Now, when you heard this call, what you had to do is you had to descend your vibration because you're a high vibrational being. You had to descend your vibration and then bring yourself into this reality. Now, the thing about this reality is we have to forget who we are. Some people can say, well, why don't ETs just land and give us technology? Wouldn't that be really cool? It would be cool, but guess what? There's this free will clause with this reality. So you gotta kind of know this is like this contract with all beings that says there's this free will here, so we can only engage to a certain level. Even the dark forces on the planet, there is a certain code that they do have to live by, or there's consequences to that. It has to do with free will. And part of the free will is that we wanted to go through this transformation on the planet from the inside out, not be given a whole bunch of things. We have this savior complex on Earth that we've been conditioned into, where we want people and ETs to save us. It's not going to happen that way. We are going to save ourselves because we chose to come here to forget who we are so that we could then remember who we are. So what happened is we agreed, yes, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to forget who I am. I'm going to have to most likely go through some form of spiritual awakening, which may be painful, may not be painful, but nonetheless, I'm going to go through this process. So we then focus on coming here. We choose our parents. And then we come here and we have certain experiences in our life, certain appointments we've made to help us to wake up. Most likely, if you're listening to this video, then you're already on the process of spiritual awakening, or you're about to be, because you can only perceive that which you are the vibration of. So what we do is we then forget who we are, we go through life experience, and what's happening right now on the planet is this ascension of vibration. What they also said in Dolores Cannon's work is that now is the time to be alive on the planet. It is the most exciting time to be on the planet than ever before. Some souls have waited thousands of years to come here at this time. Because now is the time of transformation, when we're able to remember and wake up to who we are at a mass consciousness level. From what I understand, never before has this happened to where this many souls, this many people on a planet were able and are able to go through this shift in consciousness together. There's a certain bubble, in a way. Think of it as like a certain bubble on Earth. Everyone's within their own little reality bubble, but we're all, in a way, going through this transformation within a certain bubble of progress. And some of us are going through it now. Some of us will go through it in 10, 15, 20 years or less. Maybe just a year or two. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the timing is going to be on it. But I do know that right now more and more people are waking up than ever before. And it's because we wanted to go through this transformation right now, this transformation of consciousness. So when it comes to time traveling, understand that many of us, if you read information on what is called the Pleiadians, a lot of people will consider them that of time travelers. And that's because they come from what we could call the future. But what we could also just say is they're a higher evolved level of consciousness than we are. But here's the thing. Many of us have lives, parallel lives, not future lives necessarily. They're all parallel, to be honest with you. There really is only the moment of now. But what we have is our perception will switch from different levels to this moment right now, or to whatever we're experiencing in our life. But many of us on the planet have lives in the Pleiades. Have had lives or are having parallel lives in the Pleiades right now. And those Pleiadian lives may be connecting to us right now in our life. Maybe in dreams, maybe in deeper ways, deeper levels of consciousness that we don't consciously remember. But many of us have connections in the Pleiades. Many of us have connections in Sirius. Many of us have connections in Arcturus. Many of us have these connections. There's many different connections. Recently, we went to a Bashar event. It was Victor Odo, Leora Alexandra, I, and Victor Odo's wife, Patty. We all went to a Bashar event, and we got to ask questions. One of the questions Leora asked is, which star system is she connected to? And Bashar said kind of what I figured he would say, because I've heard people ask this question before. And he said, you're connected to Sirius, Pleiades, Arcturus, like 3 to 5 different star systems. She's like, you have many different connections. We like to put ourselves in a box as spiritual beings and say, I am this right now, and in the future I am this. And in the past I was this. But understand, we have many different connections that we can't even imagine, because as a spiritual being, we are more than our ego can imagine. We are more than our ego can even imagine. So we have connections at many different levels, and which levels we connect to will depend upon which ones are relevant. So Pleiadians in general come from what we call the future, but they're parallel as well. And in a way, what we decided to do was to travel back in time as these future versions of us. We can put our focus, our consciousness there. We decided to come back in time to this moment right now. And this moment right now is where we're able to go through this shift in consciousness. So time traveler, in a certain way, time doesn't exist the way that we think it does. There is the moment of now, and there's parallel future lives, parallel past lives that may be relevant. But just understand that you had to forget who you are to be here right now, but you exist at many different levels at the same time. You just not remember it because it's not always relevant to remember it. Imagine that right now, in this moment, imagine what happened was you were aware of all these future lives and all these past lives at the same time. It would confuse your brain. You wouldn't be able to have a physical experience. One of the reasons we forget who we are in the past and in the future is so that we can have the experience now. And by having it now, we are able to then be in this experience in totality. How did Siri just get activated? Did I say anything with an S in it? Anyways, the key is understanding that we are, yes, time travelers, because we are actually eternal spiritual beings that exist at many different levels of consciousness, but understand that many of us have these future connections, what we call future connections, which are connections right now to star systems like the Pleiades, which are future versions of us. And what we've done is we've traveled back in time from that level of consciousness to now so that we could go through this shift in consciousness, because we may have heard the call. And that call is that Earth is in trouble and wants to be helped. So, if you want to learn more about this or go through your own Starseed awakening, I have a Starseed meditation that is for activating this information within you. It's a guided meditation. I recommend you listen to it for 21 days to get the maximum benefit out of it. I think that if you do that, it will change your life, at least your awareness of who you are at a deeper level. It's completely free. It's in the top of the description box below. And that will help you in this process of remembering your Starseed connections and activating more of this within you. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the little notification gear so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.